Hey everyone, I'm in Barcelona. It's actually stunning. I'm at my mate's apartment, but it's crazy. We've got this. He's having some work done on the roof here, but I seem to have a sunset there and a sunset there, and over here, what I'll show you is the view from Barcelona, the view of Barcelona. I was last here about 5 years ago. I watched Messi at the Nou Camp. It was really interesting. He just stood there for long periods. He just stood. He just literally, I thought he was the manager at certain points. He did nothing. But then as soon as the game came to him, the whole game exploded. And nothing much was happening. Messi was sort of standing around, and then suddenly Messi exploded, and then suddenly he passed the ball to Suarez, and Suarez just hammered it into the top of the goal. Top corner, top bins. And it was like, wow. Suarez, I think, I don't know, most people appreciate him as a great striker, but the guy was truly an awesome striker. Look at this, it's unbelievable. Okay, so there's been some stuff in oil this week. Obviously, there always is. We haven't had the Israeli attack that I've been talking about. And, if you remember, I was saying, I think the smartest thing for the Israelis to do, knowing they'll do the smartest thing, is to do nothing as regards Iran. It was also very difficult to believe they would do anything. Oh my goodness, look at this. It was also very difficult to believe that the Israelis would do anything if the Democrats had anything to do with it, because, obviously you wouldn't get approval. Let me try and get you this view. What I was saying, and I think I've said this last week, was that the smart thing for the Israelis is not to respond in any way to Iran's attack. And they have, and so oil has got weak. We're back on the AI theme, and the big news of this week has really been small nuclear, and we're thinking hard about that because we're really interested by the fact that you're using up all the spare capacity in US electricity at the same time as you have too much capacity in oil, too much capacity in US natural gas production, too much capacity in refining, arguably, certainly too much chemical capacity. But at the same time, we're going to really take away all the spare capacity in electricity in the US. And what we're really thinking about is whether or not small nuclear is the Haynesville. Now, you have to be pretty advanced to understand what I'm saying, frankly, but you're adding small nuclear because you're desperate for low carbon electricity and you're desperate to pursue AI. And here's another thing I can show you, actually, which is kind of interesting, but I finally found an AI product which is genuinely exciting. And I'm not here to sell Ray-Bans, and I'm not here to sell Meta. And I wish they would pay me, frankly. Look at the sky, man. It's so cool. These things. This is the Ray-Ban Wayfarers, which I bought. They're awesome. They play music in my ear. And then I can say, like, hey, Meta, it's going to respond here, but I can't. I'm here to help with any questions or tasks you may have. But they also play music in your ears. These are actually ReactToite, so they're a super cool thing that actually I finally found an AI product that I really like. And of course that means that we're going to have to get a lot more electricity, because that thing, you couldn't hear it, but what it was doing, it was saying in my ears, what can I help you with? And that takes a lot of electricity. So small nuclear is the new Haynesville, which is really kind of interesting concept. We had Janine Y on our call last night, who is the North American IR of Total. And Total is really interesting because they've become the #1 global player in solar, which, has been a consistent strategy of Total, and they've done really well with this. They're also growing their oil and gas production, which remains a problem. But really a super high quality company that's been absolutely consistent and has really embarrassed Shell, and particularly BP, by the way that Total has actually delivered. One of the interesting things a huge client was telling me yesterday is that the incredible growth in solar, which has exceeded all forecasts, is also requiring a lot of, in the case of India, where solar is exploding, they have to add a whole lot of coal capacity to stabilize the grid. So things remain really interesting, and I think, the IEA put out their World Energy Outlook this week, and you know, what we were saying is I worked on the World Energy Outlook at the IEA back in the early 90s, and we were looking at China and thinking China is going to be huge. What we got wrong was not the oil demand in China. We had numbers that were too big for China oil demand. We couldn't work it out because it was like the numbers were going to be so huge, and they have been so huge. What we missed was that really a coal demand would be, and production would be, just absolutely massive, and this need for stabilization of the grid and baseload power is the biggest theme that we see in the market today. So you're going to have to add a whole lot of baseload capacity, and what Amazon, Meta, all these guys are doing. Meta, those glasses I just showed you are Meta, Ray-Ban Metas. They're all going to have to work out a way to get baseload capacity in a big way, and the latest move is small nuclear, which is really fascinating. And the way we're thinking about it, and we are thinking about it, we haven't come up with the final ideas, is that small nuclear reactors are kind of like the Haynesville of natural gas, insofar as they're the marginal, much needed, you know, fast response supply side. And we're working on that. So we'll publish on nuclear. The other big thing that we published was Exxon Note, which was very well received, looking at the history of Exxon, looking at how they're going to be talking about the Permian. And I've talked about this on previous calls, previous videos, but there's going to be a very big meeting for them on December the 11th that I keep talking about, which I think is one of the most significant meetings that you'll see in global energy when Exxon does this big analyst meeting. I'm kind of taken away here from talking. As you can see, I'm kind of distracted because I'm thinking about my Mesa glasses, which I love, by the way, and I'm now buying them as presents. But also the view up here in Barcelona is just so terrific. It's just beautiful. I love his statue as well. It's super cool, man. I think I'll leave it there. I just wanted to check in. Have a great week.